Yeah. Good morning. I can't hear. Are you all able to hear?
No.
No, doctor.
All right. So maybe I think maybe you need to unmute or who is presenting.
Good morning, doctor.
Okay. Do you want to switch on your video also so that we can all see you?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. So who's presenting? Rudra, is it?
Yes, doctor. I'm Rutrashni here. So I'm going to present about Healthy Cities Initiative.
Okay.
Next page, please. Okay, so basically, definition of healthy cities initiative is about a healthy city is one that is continually creating and improving those physical and social environments and expanding those community resources which enable people to mutually support each other in performing all the functions of life and developing to their maximum potential. So this definition is by the World Health Organization, initiated at 1986. So, background to healthy cities by the Ottawa Charter in 1986, they said health is created and lived by people within the settings of their everyday life where they learn, work, play, and love. Okay, so basically, what is a healthy city is to create a healthy, supportive environment, achieve a good quality of life, provide basic sanitation and hygiene, and supply access to healthcare. So this Healthy Cities initiative is actually brought by Shanghai Consensus on Healthy Cities, and later it is amended by the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development.
So I will continue with Healthy Cities Vision. Number one is people. Prioritize investment in people, focusing on improving equity and inclusion through enhanced empowerment. And for example, this includes building trust, resilience, and a focus on ethics and values. Number two is participation. Participatory governance processes undertaken in pursuit of common good. For example, this includes stronger accountability and governance for healthy and well-being. Number three, prosperity. Enhance community prosperity and strengthen access through values-based governance of common goods and services. This includes universal minimum social protection and investment in circular economy. And then number four is planet. The health of both people and planet are at the heart of all city policies, including to strengthen city health diplomacy and to be a whole of city approach to health and well-being. And then next is place, physical, social, and cultural environments that enable and drive health and well-being for all. For example, to shift from a needs-based to an asset-based approach. And then lastly is peace, inclusive societies that focus on places, participation, prosperity, and the planet while putting people at the center of all policies and action. Um, for example, the institution, governance system, and architecture that prioritize social justice and inclusive participation. I think that's all from M12. Thank you.
Can you please show me your first slide again? Okay. So what are they trying to say here? You've highlighted certain words there, and I think very appropriately highlighted. What do you mean by this? Highlight the words that you highlighted. Rudra?
Yes, doctor.
You've highlighted certain words. Can you tell me what you mean? Why did you highlight those particular words?
These are the important keywords.
So what are you trying to say here?
Doctor, these are the important keywords for the particular definition initiated by the World Health Organization. So the main aim is to actually create a very good environment. So for them to create a very good environment among a city, so they must have this continually physical and social environments. This social and physical environments must continually improved so that it can create a better environment for the people. And yeah, that's all. Doctor.
So the word, I think it's always, I like this word, continually. Continuous improvement, continuously creating. All right. And here, when you think about this, when you talk about the continually, and here talking about both the physical and the social environment. A lot of times, a lot of money is spent by governments around the world on improving the physical environment, but not enough attempt has been made to look at the social environment. And that's why I remember last week when I gave you the lecture on social determinants of health. Right, so increasingly they're beginning to say it's not only the physical environment, but also the social environment. Like now in Malaysia, we have a very good physical environment. Now what about the social environment? Huh? And then also expanding community resources. That means it's not only a government, but all the resources that are there for the community, and for them to mutually support each other. See, it is not government provide, they receive, or is a mutually, the community must, the people in the community must mutually support each other. Good question now, it's COVID-19. What do you think? Nurul, what do you think? Is the Malaysian society mutually supporting each other during this effort to fight this pandemic? Nurul? Waina, Nurul, Waina? Are you all able to hear? This kind of.
Yes, doctor.
Subject. My question is, what do you think is our society at the moment, the people in the society, especially now during COVID-19, are we mutually supportive of each other?
For me, I think yes, but maybe not all. We support each other.
All this can be improved. So that's why they're talking about working continually, mutually supporting each other. Okay, and moving these functions to their maximum potential. So this is not just like, like when Rudra read it, she just read it, but I think you have to analyze each word, what is happening here: physical, social environment, continuous improvement, mutual support, and then maximum potential. Are we working towards our maximum potential? Are the people in this country, society, all right? So in cities, we need to actually get everybody to be working to their maximum potential. Okay, right? Can I get to the next slide? All right. This is a very important. In fact, these are the 4 areas when they talk about what a healthy city should do. And remember this initiative, does it exist in Malaysia, Rudra? Rudra? Anybody wants to answer this question? I mean, Rudra, are you there?
Sorry, Prof. I'm sorry, Doctor. My line was breaking. Yes, Doctor, could you please repeat the question?
No, my question was, does this Healthy City Initiative, a WHO initiative, does it exist in Malaysia?
Yes, Doctor. It was first initiated in Kuching during 1994. So it
Okay.
started there first.
All right. And since then, there are also other cities, or just only Kuching only?
So far, what I researched was it was initiated by the Kuching city, yeah, in Sarawak.
But other cities also, since Malacca and all that. Okay, but these are the four main pillars lah. If you have to remember by Healthy City Initiative, remember these four. Okay, creating a healthy environment, achieving good quality of life, all right, making sure that sanitation and hygiene is good, right, basic, and have access to healthcare. So if you have to remember about healthy cities, these are the main pillars of the Healthy City Initiative. Okay, let's go to the slide on vision, the vision slide. Nurul, I think, presented the vision slide. Okay, I like the 6 P's that they talk about: people, participation. What do you know about this vision? What is a vision actually? What is a vision? In group 12, anybody, or just Nurul, or what is a vision? All organizations have a vision. What do you mean by vision?
What they would like to achieve in the future.
Target.
What's it?
What they would like to achieve in the future.
Okay, what they would like to achieve in the future. Okay, and then who else was speaking just now? Amar, is it?
Yeah, it's kind of a target.
Like a target. Okay. See, all that vision is a big picture. Vision, then mission. Some will say mission, vision. Some do see American style. I think there are a lot of them to write mission first, then vision. In Europe and all that, they talk about vision and mission, and then within that they will have targets. They'll have indicators. They'll have targets, and they have indicators to measure their targets. Okay, but this is a big picture. All right. Thank you. So that's group 12, is it? Okay. Now let's go on. Jonathan, who's next?
M02, I'll be presenting.
Okay.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So my part will be the difference between urban health and rural health. So this is just very simple. So I'll go over the social aspects, physical aspects, and health and wellness for both rural and urban. So for urban health, social aspects, the pros is high socio-economic status and also education status, because in the urban areas you tend to have more universities and more areas to work, especially, for example, engineers, lawyers, etc. And the cons is social stratification. There's a huge difference between the rich and the poor. And also you have violence, and the crime rate's very high, such as theft, drug dealing, and drug misuse, violence. And as for the physical aspect, there are better infrastructure and facilities, and also sanitation. However, sanitation depends on the area itself, whether it's properly maintained by the local authorities and the people. For the cons of the physical aspect, you have low air quality because in towns you tend to have more motor vehicles, so you have more air pollution. And pollution is also caused by people not taking responsibility of the cleanliness. They just throw rubbish around. And the lack of a natural environment. Everything is a concrete jungle in urban cities, and you have less trees. And there's also higher NCDs in urban areas compared to communicable diseases. As for health and wellness, the pros is access to health stores and health centers, and pharmacies are available, and there are also rehabilitation centers. So for the rural health, in terms of social aspect, there's more interaction with nature and lesser social disparities. People interact together more. There's more sense of togetherness in rural areas. The cons is education is quite limited in rural areas. As for the physical aspect, the rural area is less crowded and they feel more close to nature, and there is less pollution. As for the cons of the physical aspect, interactions to nature may give rise to communicable diseases such as, and especially farmers, they have schistosoma, hematobium, there's dengue, malaria. They also maybe have high rates of NCDs as there's less self-awareness, as these people tend to smoke more, eat unhealthy food. As for health, access is more limited. They may need to travel far to get to a tertiary hospital for medical care. Okay, that's all from me.
Show your slides again, please. Any reference on the comment on this? The first set of slides, and then the next. This is on urban health.
The reference I took it from the Global Health University in US. There was an article of this topic written by them.
I'll also, after this class is over, I'll also send you a few references on urban health, global health report and all that. Okay, any comments from your classmates on this slide? Any questions on this? If I have to ask you, Jonathan, urban health versus rural health, the one difference I saw was somehow or other in your slide, higher NCDs in urban health, in urban areas, and also you say maybe higher in rural areas. Can you explain that a little bit, clarify, because the rest all are quite clear.
Yeah. Based on the article I read, they mentioned that there may be higher rates of NCDs in certain rural areas because there is less health awareness among the population.
Okay, so it's because I'm just looking when, let's say there were studies done on NCD, and one of the variable is called urban versus rural. So, in some rural areas the NCDs will be higher. Huh? That's the paper you said, is it?
Yeah.
But otherwise, most of the differences are quite distinct, right?
Yes.
Access to healthcare is definitely more in urban area or rural area?
The urban area.
Urban area, good. And then what about pollution? Where will be more?
The urban area as well.
Okay, if I ask you about traffic accidents, if I ask you, in fact, I'll be talking to you on Wednesday. Traffic accidents, where do you think the more accidents will occur?
The urban area.
Urban, more. But if I ask you about fatalities due to accidents, where do you think they'll occur mainly?
The rural, is it?
Rural areas. Why?
The lack of proper infrastructure, is it?
One is that, and two is that when in the urban areas they cannot drive so fast.
Yeah.
You know,
In rural areas, the road is empty. You can go
the
as
roads
fast as you
are
want.
empty. They drive very fast through the roads. So if people do meet with an accident, fatalities are higher. Huh? Okay, good. All right, let's go on to the next. Yours is group 2, is it, Jonathan?
Yeah, M02.
All right, I'm surprised you didn't ask somebody else in your group to present because you're already managing the whole class. Huh? Yeah, but good, nice.
Because in my group I prepared this part, so
All right, okay, all right. Oh, because you prepared that particular one. All right. I honestly I enjoy this idea that how you all the students share their work. Huh? All right, good, nice. And at the end of it, please make sure that all of you all send each other slides to the whole group, and then all of you all will have the whole composite of all the lecture because each group presents slightly different. So do make sure that you all collect all the slides, the ones that will be sending me at the end of it. Okay, next.
okay, next group. M14.
At the moment, there are 115 in this class. At the moment, I'm including me is 116. That's nice. So whoever is not in the class, do inform your group monitor. Inform me also. Who's next? Who's going to present next? Okay. Raina. Raina, is it?
Doctor, the one presenting
Rania?
is me,
Who's
Nashita.
presenting? Rashida, is it?
I-
We like to switch on your video as well so that we can see who's presenting. And use yourself.
Okay. So next we will discuss about.
I can't hear you. Can you speak a little louder, please?
Okay. Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So next we will discuss about the urban health problems. So
Rashita,
yes.
your camera, your mic has something. I'm not sure what sound that was.
Wait. I'm sorry. Wait. Just give me a minute. Wait. So is my voice clear right now?
Yes.
Can you guys see the slide?
No.
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 Okay. So for the urban health problems, first we start with the urban housing and the housing conditions. So usually in the urban areas, it is overcrowded, and this will lead to the increase of the risk and the spread of various infectious diseases such as dengue, cholera, COVID-19, and etc. And also a lot of urban areas, especially the slums, they do not have the access to basic infrastructure like primary health care, education, good roads, and etc. Okay, next. Okay, next is communicable disease. Influences of urbanization on selected infectious disease. It causes rapid increase in slums, lead to poor access of clean water and sanitation. The population is large as well, which makes the rate of the communicable disease higher. So next. Okay, next is violence. In the urban areas, several conditions and problems contribute to high violence rate. For example, unemployment, which is the reason why a lot of youth engage in crimes, and also low education levels and substance abuse also contribute to this greatly. Next. Can you move to the next slide? Okay, so next is mass transportation. Due to the overcrowded in the urban areas, a lot of people travel to and from work, schools, and several other places. So it will increase increase of movements. So the traffic congestion also a problem that arises from mass transportation and also the overcrowding. And there's also increase of accidents since a lot of these areas usually lack of footpaths, service lanes, and also factors such as irresponsible drivers. And also high risk for pollution is also significantly high. Okay, so this is due to the fumes from various vehicles on the roads and that greatly expose the citizen to the air pollution. So next slide. Okay, next is poor sanitation. This is also one of the urban health problems, mostly due to poor waste management, lack of proper hygiene, and sewage treatment. It is linked to transmission of diseases such as cholera, diarrhea, dysentery, and hepatitis A, typhoid, and polio. And also, the poor sanitation reduces human well-being, social and economic development due to impacts such as anxiety, risk of sexual assault, and lost educational opportunities. So, and then substance abuse. This refer to harmful or hazardous use of psychoactive substances that include alcohol and illicit drugs. Okay, for example, it's uses of opioids, hypnotics, cocaine, volatile hydrocarbons, cannabis, and alcohol. And this substance abuse may lead to social, physical, emotional health, and job-related problems. And other problems also include morbidity, violence such as domestic abuse, death, accident, homicide, or suicide. And physical dependence of psychological addiction. So next slide. Okay, next is pollution related health conditions, which is there's three: air pollution, environmental pollution, and also noise pollution. Next slide. Okay, for air pollution, due to long-term exposure to particulate pollution can result in significant health problems, including increased respiratory symptoms such as irritation of the airways, cough, or difficulty of breathing, decreased lung function, asthma, chronic or any chronic respiratory disease, also chronic bronchitis or chronic obstructive lung disease, irregular heartbeat, non-fatal heart attacks, premature death, and also including death from lung cancer. Next slide. So for environmental pollution, environmental pollutants have various adverse health effects from early life. Some of the most important harmful effects are perinatal disorders, infant mortality, respiratory disorder, allergy, malignancy, cardiovascular disorder, increase in stress oxidative, endothelial dysfunction, and also mental disorder, and also various other harmful effects. For noise pollution, it is due to exposure to prolonged or excessive noise that has been shown to cause a range of health problems ranging from stress, poor concentration, productivity losses in the workplace, and communication difficulties, and also fatigue from lack of sleep, to more serious issues such as cardiovascular disease, cognitive impairment, tinnitus, and hearing loss. So I think that's all for the urban health problem. Thank you.
First thing I said, I must say that this group had a large task. It was a big task, big topic to cover, and each one of them actually has got its own detailed discussion can be held. Like air pollution could be separate, environmental pollution could be each one of them. Okay, and I must congratulate this group. What group was this just now? What group was this? What number?
M14.
14, huh? All right.
Yes.
Okay. Now I have a few questions here because since this was a big thing. All right, your on transportation itself, your mass transportation, the slide on mass transportation. Can I see that? I must say,
Prof.
Yeah.
Sorry. I think for the sub point, I mean the mass transportation and all, is actually being divided for each group. But I think maybe there's miscommunication. So she present all.
Okay. I understand. That's why I was wondering because if I remember correctly,
I actually assigned one group for one, so
yeah. Okay, but no problem.
Yes. There's a miscommunication with me, so I just accidentally explain every point.
Yeah, can happen. Can happen. But don't worry. The other groups will be allowed to present their particular topic. So we'll get somebody else to present. But here, when you talk about mass transportation, right? I just want to make sure that when you think of mass transportation, when you think of transportation, I understand. That means your what's that normal vehicles, that is there, bicycle. When you talk about mass transportation, they're mainly talking about LRT, MRT, public transport lah. Okay, so sometimes when you think about this, and they have generally said that with mass transportation there are less risk of accidents because increased risk of accidents, I'm not so sure will occur as a result of mass transportation, like usually because more people are traveling, and in a particular vehicle like in MRT, the chances of having an accident are usually less. Okay, then there was one more slide on next on sanitation. Is it poor sanitation? Next slide, is it? I think it was the next slide or here. Okay. I didn't understand the last line on this. Poor sanitation reduces human well-being, social and economic development due to impacts such as anxiety, risk of sexual assault, and loss of education. I didn't understand how poor sanitation can affect sexual risk of sexual assault and educational opportunities. Just go back and think about it. Okay. I can understand economic development. Yeah. That's suppose sanitation. I'm not so sure. When I saw that, hey, the sexual assault and education opportunity post sanitation. Okay. Good. Thank you. So group 14 is done. Yeah. Let's move on. Jonathan, to call for the next group. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, M01 can present their topic on mass transportation.
Prof,
Yes.
for the mass transportation just now, does it involve only the MRT and LRT where a lot of people
I want to listen to you. Don't worry about what I just said. But whenever we think about mass transportation, we're talking about mass. That means how they move large numbers of people at one time. But go ahead, talk about this transportation. Urban. What I mean is we're interested in urban transportation, you know. Okay. Go ahead. One.
So does it so you don't take into account the people on the roads in their own cars, or do you
That of course, that also too. I mean, there will be transport. That's the urban transportation part of that. Okay. But when we think about mass transportation, they're usually talking about public transportation, moving large numbers of people at one time. Okay, but this comes under urban transportation, but it's okay. Go ahead, continue, please. Who is presenting?
It is me, Doctor. I am Muaz from MO1. So
okay, Muaz Haikal bin Muhammad Rani, right?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, good, nice.
So for this part is for mass transportation. So it is divided to 4 parts, which is mass transportation can cause air pollution, noise pollution, accidents, and also physical inactivity. So for the first one is the air pollution, where the increase of vehicles on the road will increase the air pollution, which in turn can cause respiratory diseases such as asthma and lung diseases. Populations are at great risk, including children, older adults, and who have existing respiratory diseases. Also great risk for people who work and exercise outdoors, and people who live close to highways and interstates. And also it is a great risk to the individuals who access to needed healthcare. Next one is for the noise pollution. So it can cause health effects such as increased risk in ischemic heart disease, such as well as sleep disturbances, cognitive impairment among children. It can cause annoyance and stress-related mental health risk, and also tinnitus. And next one is for accidents where there is a lot of transportation, where when there is lack of footpath, there is lack of service lanes, cycle tracks, and also traffic calming measures, where it can cause increase in accidents, motor injuries, pedestrian and bicyclist injuries, and deaths. Pedestrian and bicyclists have an increased risk of motor vehicle related death than people who in vehicles. And then motor vehicle crashes are the leading cause of death. Then the last one is the physical inactivity, where people use a lot of active transport. People use a lot of passive transport rather than active transport. Passive transport is like where we ride our car or use other vehicles. But for active transport, it's like we walk to work or we cycling to work. And also including use of public transport such as train can lead to obesity and also non-communicable diseases. That's all for me.
All right. One, of course, when you have a lot of public when you have a lot of vehicles on the road, air pollution is definitely a problem. That's quite good. Noise pollution is also an interesting. I mean, there are accidents and safety. Like I told you, There are two types. In the urban areas, accidents are more frequent but less dangerous as compared to the rural areas. This physical inactivity, I'm not quite clear. I'm not so sure because I'm not clear what you mean by passive transport and active transport, because suddenly you say including public transportation. I'm not. Can you clarify this physical inactivity with regard to main transportation?
What I understand is passive transport is we use the car always and don't walk or cycling to work. If we ride our train, we can still walk to work because it is included in active transport. But
Okay.
passive transport is weak. It causes physical inactivity.
Okay, so that physical inactivity, of course, that leads to NCD, heart disease, whatever. Huh? Okay, all right. But air pollution, noise pollution, accidents are the main thing. But nice. I'm interested in the physical inactivity part. I never thought about that. Because if all of us think of it, yeah lah. I mean, we don't really. Once we got a car, we don't even 100-meter distance. Sometimes we drive. Yeah. Okay. All right, Moaz. Thank you. That's group 1. Okay, next please, next group.
M03 air pollution.
Hello, can everybody see the slide?
You
Yes.
can see the slide.
Alright, so I'll be presenting M03 on air pollution. So as we know this, as urban air quality declines, the risk of cardiovascular disease and respiratory illness like lung cancer and chronic and also acute respiratory diseases including asthma will increase for the people who live in them. So populations in low to low middle income cities has the higher risk for respiratory diseases and other long-term health problems. For example, places like in Indonesia where there are slash and burn agriculture practices. So there are two types of air pollution: outdoor air pollution, where energy use and production activities occur, for example, as burning fossil fuels. And one more is indoor air pollution, where it is from cooking, heating, and lighting, natural indoor air pollutants like radon, chemical pollutants from building materials, and also cleaning products. But today we are going to focus more on outdoor air pollution. So number one is the increased usage of fuel burning vehicle, for example, diesel and petrol. So diesel car has better fuel consumption and less carbon dioxide emission, but it releases more particulate matter, nitrogen dioxide, and carcinogens like polyaromatic hydrocarbons compared to petrol car. And then we also have factories and industries which produces O3 and O2, SO2, CO, and also PM. And then we have agriculture activities and deforestation. Okay, so under this we have insecticides, pesticides, and fertilizers, which emit harmful chemicals into the air, causing air pollution, and as well as water pollution. So, and then tree remove pollutant gases such as nitrogen oxides, ammonia, sulfur dioxide, and ozone, and filter particulates out of the air. Then we also have construction activity, basically dust and dirt, which can cause irritation to respiratory system. The next is the air pollutants. We have under air pollutants, it is a fine particulate matter. That's the size. Not sure how to say that, but it penetrates the lung barrier and enters the blood system. They can increase the risk of heart and respiratory disease, as well as lung cancer. And then for ozone, it causes asthma, and nitrogen dioxide and sulfur dioxide can also cause asthma, bronchial symptoms, lung inflammation, and reduced lung function. And then we have SO2 and NO2, which can cause eyes, nose, throat, and skin irritation. Also, lung inflammation and other respiratory diseases such as COPD during long time exposure. Carbon monoxide, if higher than 40%, can cause weakness, dizziness, chest pain, vomiting, confusion, and headache. And lastly is carcinogenic substances such as PAH can cause childhood cancer, affect fetal brain development, or damage to organs such as liver. So this is an example of Malaysia Air Quality Index during 19th of September 2019. It is due to burning from the Indonesian rainforest, so it's quite bad. Yeah, and this is the latest. Yesterday's air quality index on 30th May 2021, which is quite okay. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, I must say very nicely presented. Very good, lot of good information. You had a question about the PM, that's called particulate matter PM less than 25 or PM 2.5 is particulate matter less than 2.5 microns. Normally, when they talk about the air pollutants, they usually have been measuring PM10, that means particulate matter less than 10 microns, which means also respirable. That means they basically can go into the lungs. Okay, this is Irfan from the 2 slides ago. Remember you had a question of PM 2.5?
Yes, Doctor. Wait a sec. Yes, this.
Yeah, this one here, the PM 2.5 means particulate matter less than 2.5 micron in size.
I see.
Okay, the aerodynamic diameter is less than 2.5 micron in size. Normally, when they measure particulate matter, they're talking about PM10, which is very common because PM10 and any particulate matter less than 10 microns can be inhaled, can be respirable. Okay?
Okay, Doctor.
All right. You did not touch on indoor environment. Is another group talking about indoor environment or?
No. It's not that we didn't touch it, Doctor, but we did try to. I did try to do some research on indoor. It's not much to talk about.
Okay, I tend to differ because in fact I remember in 1991 I wrote a paper on this indoor air environment, and you see what actually happens. Remember this, we spend 95% of our time indoors. Verify?
Yes, Doctor.
That means to say I can get out of my house, I'm in my house, all right, I go into my car, indoor. Then I reach my office, I'm indoors again. Then at the end of the day, I sit in my car and I come home, indoors. So most of the time, then the whole day at night, indoors. So a lot of the time actually we spend indoors. So, and we always say that, yes, air pollution, outdoor air pollution, very, very, very important. But do not forget indoor air pollution too, because a lot of the time, the pollution from outdoors, of course, also comes into the house. In urban areas especially, you live in a urban area, the area outside is all polluted. Directly, indirectly, it's the same air that's going to come into the house, unless you have some system of cleaning, air conditioning, that kind of thing. Okay, and there, of course, and you mentioned very clearly, radon, chemical pollutants from the off-gassing in the air kind of thing, right? But I must say, nice coverage on air pollution. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, and I think it's good to add the latest that basically it is during the haze that we all got worried more about air pollution during the haze that happened, in I think the 90s, late 90s already, the first time when we had our first episode of haze. And of course, each time the haze occurs, we blame Indonesia, the forest fires. Then we find out the companies that are burning, doing the forest fires or burning in Indonesia are Malaysian companies. Then we kept quiet a bit for a while. Okay, that is also there. All right.
Okay, Doctor.
Thank
Totally
you.
agree. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you. True. Yeah.
Good morning, Doctor. Good morning, everyone. I am Kamli Kanin and I'll be presenting on substance abuse today. Um, can everyone hear me?
Yeah, can see the slides. Yeah, can
all right.
hear you.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Okay, never mind. Okay, so substance abuse is essentially defined as the excessive use of a drug or a substance, whatever addictive substance, in a way that is detrimental to self, society, or both. So if we want to look at the history of substance usage, so substances have always been a part of. Sorry, is it better now? Am I still breaking up?
Now it's better. Just now it was breaking off.
Okay, all right. So to repeat whatever I said earlier, psychoactive substances have always been rooted in our journey of human civilization. It has been an old practice and has always been around. However, now we find it, we term it substance abuse, and we find it quite problematic because of the detrimental effects it causes to self as well as society. So looking at the substances available or most commonly used nowadays, we have cigarette smoking, which is quite common. Cigarette smoking or the use of tobacco substances has been used for many years, and it has been identified as a major contributor to death and illnesses for decades. So you actually see a lot of hazards being imparted to society about it, whether it is on the cigarette boxes itself or before movies as a disclaimer and stuff like that. Tobacco substances are quite easily accessible to young adults, and it's most often one of the first substances that they come in contact with, or they see it the most prevalently. So now, aside from cigarette smoking, we have also the vape smoking that is also quite prevalent, which is also easily accessible, and they are more exposed to it from a young age. And then we have cannabis, we have cut. Cut is cut and coca leaves. If you guys are not sure, it's quite similar to betel nut that in Asia we chew. So that's what cut and coca leaves are analogous to. And then we have opium poppy. It is traditional. It used to be traditional, and the controlled use of these substances that has been used for a very long time has now opened a problematic pattern of usage, because initially what was used in a controlled manner is now being used commercially and also is being abused. And we have, last but not least, alcohol. Usually alcohol is contained in a variety of beverages, and it poses little harm. You can think of it as posing little harm, but however, we also know people who go overboard with their alcohol and abuse it. And then next, let's look at the risk factors for increased substance abuse. So the risk factors in today's day and age. Now we have a high availability or easier access. So we do have policies in place. Like in Malaysia, we do have policies in place which are anti-drug. However, overseas, they do have some sort. They are not as stringent as we are here, And since we are open to social media and our content is not limited to our country itself, we do consume content that shows commercial use of drugs, and that is sort of that can be related to our cultural norms and supportive attitude to drug abuse, and also peer influence, because not only is it highly available and easier to access, we also consume content, we also consume ideologies that show us that it is easily accessible, or where to access it, or that it is okay to access to. And then we have poverty. When we talk about urbanization, poverty is how do I say this, an unavoidable side effect of it, because when the world is trying to move at a fast pace, there will be a certain group of people who are unable to cope with it, and then we have poverty as a result of it. So in poverty-stricken areas, you can see that the people there have a strong neighborhood attachment, and certain times it's also used as a coping mechanism to get through, or to get through the difficulties or the challenges they face. And hence, when one person or small group starts using it, people with strong neighborhood attachment or young impressionable adults with strong neighborhood attachment get influenced as well. We have urbanization and wealth, like I said. Aside from poverty caused by urbanization that contributes to drug abuse, urbanization and wealth caused by urbanization itself contributes to drug abuse, because those who are wealthy, those who have the money to procure, acquire whatever substance they require, they do it. And an example of that is seeing substance abuse in high-end bars or clubs and stuff like that, where the wealthy frequent. And then there is also high anonymity for drug dealers nowadays, since they can go behind a social media or the virtual handles. And then we have a lack of self-control. That is, these risk factors are more itself as well as family. So now we have a lack of self-control, and then a lack of parental supervision, considering that most parents or adults are quite focused with being lucrative. And then we have our long-term health effects of prolonged drug and alcohol abuse that have been time and again reminded to us. However, I've just found a simple diagram that we can take a look at. The general effects of prolonged drug as well as alcohol abuse is to the body, where we have our organ failures, and then to the cardiovascular system, where we have our long-term heart disease, heart failure, collapsed wings, and then obviously the respiratory system. And then we have the various cancers because of the carcinogenic substances or the harms it can cause. And then definitely we have the brain involvement or effect to the brain on both prolonged drug and alcohol abuse, where we feel like even physical as well as psychological issues. Like psychologically, we feel anxiety, depression, paranoia, and then we also feel dementia, there's a loss of attention span, and then physically we have an impact cognitive function and stuff like that. Okay, I think that's all for substance abuse. Thank you.
I think this topic is very well covered. I mean, the only question that I have here is basically you talked about say drug and alcohol, substance abuse, smoking. You have introduced that topic of smoking, right? And that some, of course, I mean, I definitely think that smoking is a bad actor, and labeling it within the substance abuse is a good move. I mean, that basically, but some would say maybe you shouldn't do that. But I think that smoking is such a bad, it has got a lot of health effects that are there. There's one question that I had. Can I see that one slide on the health effects?
Okay, doctor. Okay.
Because you're talking about, I know the mental health part or the physical, the question on psychotropic drugs. Well, okay, I got that. Yeah, I think you're right. All right. Okay, good. Thanks. I think we'll move on to the next student. Thank you. What group was that? Kamali Kanan, is it? Kamali Kanan, which group were you in?
I'm 17, doctor.
17, is it? Okay. All right.
Yes, doctor.
How many groups are you all in total?
10.
There's 10 of
10, okay. All right, good. So we have how many groups to present? How many more groups to present today, this morning?
another 4.
Another 4. Okay, and right now the time is 10:10. I think that means maybe we should take a break, a 5-minute or 10-minute break, 10:20. Then we have another 40 minutes until 11. Is that okay?
Yes,
Yeah, I
Huh?
think it.
Okay.
I think good to take a break because continuously watching the screen. Okay, 10-minute break, and we are back here at 10:20, and then in 40 minutes we should finish the 4 more groups. Thank you very much. We'll come back at 10:20. It is 10:20. We will start. Huh? Who's going to present now?
I'm 15, Doctor.
Okay, 15. And okay. Fine, that's okay now.
So for the urban health problem for violence, the World Health Organization defines violence as the intentional use of physical force or power, threatened or actual, against oneself, another person, or against a group or community that either results in or has a high likelihood of resulting in injury, death, psychological harm, maldevelopment, or deprivation. So in 2000, an estimated 1.6 million people worldwide lost their lives to violence. Around half of these deaths were suicides, nearly one-third were homicides, and about one-fifth were casualties of armed conflict. So aside from the death, physical, sexual, and psychological abuse also occur in every country on a daily basis, undermining the health and well-being of many millions of people, in addition to costing nations vast sums each year in healthcare, legal costs, absenteeism from work, and lost productivity. Also, the health effects of violence can last years beyond the initial abuse and may include permanent disability such as spinal cord injuries, brain damage, and loss of limbs. In addition to direct physical injury, victims of violence are at increased risk of wide range of psychological and behavioral problems, including depression, alcohol abuse, anxiety, and suicidal behavior, as well as reproductive health problems such as unwanted pregnancy, sexually transmitted diseases, and sexual dysfunction. That's all for violence.
Okay. Okay, just before we go to so okay. Yeah, Sakina, Aina, you're presenting in the next one also, or just violence?
We're just presenting violence.
You're just presenting violence. Okay. So when you can you show me that when you say this violence here, and you use the word physical, sexual, and psychological abuse. Huh? So okay, among groups also lah. Huh? Okay, go. So like what is happening in different parts of the world also will be part of the violence lah, right?
Yes.
Okay. Violence and there's domestic violence. Huh?
Yep.
Okay. Any thoughts about how this could be prevented in the context of domestic violence? Because in urban areas that's supposed to be a problem.
Yes.
Or what would be the risk factors for domestic violence?
Risk factor.
Beg your pardon? Okay. Anybody from your group or any other group want to add to this violence?
You mean the domestic violence, Prof?
Yeah, any form of violence. I mean, I want to have more discussion on violence here.
I think for any domestic, maybe stress and work or something. For others, maybe economy, maybe low economy, something like that.
Okay, yeah. True. I mean, low SES adds to violence, though, in domestic violence. Stress adds to domestic violence. Anybody else want to add to this question of violence?
Maybe could lead to poverty.
Poverty.
Financial support.
Okay. Violence in the workplace was another big area. Violence in the workplace. Okay. Yeah, because I mean, when let's say a customer comes, right, and is not handled well, and the customer gets upset, that could add to violence in the workplace, in the context for the worker that's out there. Yeah. Okay. Anything else on violence? Okay, all right. If not, we move on. Thank you. That was group 15, right, Sakina?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, for next part is rural to urban migration, which is urbanization refers to the mass movement of population from rural to urban setting in hope to gaining a better standard of living. Many rural migration who settle in an urban slum area bring their family and their domesticated animals, both pets and livestock with them. This inflow of humans and animals lead to vulnerability of all migrants to circulating communicable disease and the potential to establish an urban transmission cycle. Okay, major health problems resulting from urbanization include poor nutrition, pollution-related health condition, poor sanitization, and housing condition and related health conditions. In Malaysia, the high rate of migration to urban centers in the last 3 decades had increased the demand for affordable housing in many cities and caused acute shortage in affordable housing. Large number of people congregate in cities cause many problems, particularly for the poor.
Let's spend a few minutes thinking about this. How do cities develop? Tell me, like, when you talk about rural to urban migration, how does an urban area come up? How does a city become a city? Somebody from your group can present, Fatin, or you can answer the question, or because it's related to your subject.
Maybe an increase opportunity for jobs.
Very good, very good. It's mainly the attraction of jobs in urban areas. You go to a lot of rural areas, the younger population are no more there. It's only the older people who are kind of retired, who are there because there are no jobs, not that many jobs in the rural areas, or if farming, agriculture is one of them that are people interested, not many people are. So that move. Rapid industrialization has been a major cause and very closely associated with urbanization. The ratio between rural and urban migration, the rural and urban population, they have found that is also like an indicator of development. A lot of places, what percentage of people in the rural area, what percentage of people in the urban area, which may not be a good indicator, but they also always look at that. What population in Malaysia lives in the urban areas? Okay, anybody in the group or in the other groups? What percentage of Malaysia's population in urban areas? What population, what percentage of population in Malaysia?
In Google, it says 76.61% of Malaysia's total population live in urban areas and cities.
How many percent?
76.61.
76.61
Yeah.
live in urban areas. All right. So now if you look at the map, you look at the map, and then your map, and they do this map lah. So what happens suddenly you have in the urban area 76% of the people living, but the total land area in which is considered the urban area is much smaller. So that population density is high. Overcrowding would be there. All the problems that you have been talking about just now would be there. That's why this session on urban health is very important, because one, urbanization is increasing. There's a large number of people who move from rural to urban areas mainly for economic reasons. And of course, with urbanization, the health effects, the health issues like your other members have been talking about are there. Okay. All right. Thank you. Let's go on. Okay, next group. The group, Fatin, what group was yours number just now? What is your group number?
M16.
16, okay, all right.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, doctor. So now I'll be presenting on the organizations that involved in managing urban health problems. So there are a few. So these are the few of the organizations. So firstly, it's Global Covenant of Mayors for Climate and Energy. So urbanization causes climate change and causes global warming and increased sea level. So like this organization encourages the leaders to work together in order to address the climate change problems. They also help to restore climate change by generating data, knowledge and tools, and also funds to contribute to global climate change. Next. Okay, so the second one will be the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. So this organization helps to support small livestock and dairy production, also enhances access for clean water for urban and peri-urban agriculture. They also improve urban food supply and distribution system, provide emergency support to community at risk, and finally, they also support the urban and peri-urban agriculture production. Next.
So next, I will be presenting for Unite Foresight. Rapid urbanization is changing global perception of poverty and health. As more people crowd into cities, more health issues arise, calling for additional research, innovation, and networking between city activists and policymakers. So basically, Unite Foresight, they provide urban health online course on their website to increase awareness about urban health. This is, as you can see the picture beside. These are the modules that they provide in their online courses. So next is World Health Organization, WHO. This organization draft a WHO global strategy on health, environment, and climate change. Plus, they draft the roadmap for an enhanced global response to the adverse health effects of air pollution. Health, environment, and climate change roadmap for an enhanced global response to the adverse health effects of air pollution. That's all from us.
Right. Your title was what? What is the title for this group? Organizations. Right. When you think about organizations, you have to sometimes think about what are called government and non-governmental organizations. right? So in any country now, right? Like for example, like in Malaysia now, right? We have the governments and we also have NGOs. So in Malaysia now, who is responsible for urban health? Who is responsible for the urban areas in this country? Hmm? Where's Jeremy? Come. Hmm? Who is responsible for urban health in Malaysia?
Is it the Ministry of Health?
Ministry of Health, but the whole bigger picture of urban areas is under Ministry of Local Government and Housing. Huh? Because see okay, and what do you mean by when you say Ministry of Local Government and Housing? Because let's say we have in KL, right? Then we have we have cities, then we have municipalities, then we have district councils, Majlis Daerah. Huh? So we have what's it? Wilayah, I mean this city council, right? We have municipalities, all right, and then we also have district councils, Majlis Daerah. So these are the government agency. That means they're responsible. Like so in city council, like in KL now, right? In KL, who is the main person in charge? Mayor. There's of course the Minister of Federal Territory, but the mayor. Each of the cities will also have a mayor. Mayor for Petaling Jaya, mayor for each of these, either the city or the what's that, municipalities. All right. And then of course they also in the Majlis Daerah, the DO will act as the person in charge of the Majlis Daerah. Of course, we're not talking of Pejabat Daerah. Majlis Daerah is local council. That means the urban areas within the district. The municipality will be also the bigger, larger urban areas. So that means that's I would say a definition. What is a city? What is a municipality? What is local council? So you need to understand how local government or urban areas are administered. So there's a slight different administration. So in KL, the Dato Banda, main person, everything comes under that DBKL. You know, they call it DBKL. That's what it's all about. And then in Cyberjaya, Majlis Perbandaran. Yes, Sapang is Daerah Sapang, but Majlis Daerah, Majlis Perbandaran will come into the picture. Okay, so when you think about this, think about government organizations first, right? So the Ministry of Local Government and Housing, and not so much Ministry of Health. Yes, for health purposes, in the context of health delivery of healthcare services, historically, delivery of healthcare services in Ministry Majlis in KL used to be also under the DBKL. All right, there was the DBKL used to run clinics, health clinics all over Wilayah, and then even Punjab, Majlis PG also had health. But down the road, they said, no, I think it doesn't make sense. Let's, I think about 20 years ago, they decided to give this responsibility of running health clinics in the city to Ministry of Health. So they come under Wilayah Persekutuan, Jabatan Kesihatan Wilayah Persekutuan. But historically, they used to run. But other urban health issues, sanitation, pollution, all that is managed by different groups of people. Okay, and usually by the Ministry of Local Government. Okay, so that is the first thing you need to know. That basically, whenever you think about the NGOs, I mean the government organizations and the NGOs. Okay, yeah, you have mentioned some of the international organizations, but I want you to know what is in Malaysia. All right. Okay, thank you. It's very important to know because a lot of times we forget what's happening in the country. Yeah. Okay, next group. Just now, the group just now, what was the number?
11.
11, is it? Okay, good.
Screen.
Hmm. Anis, is it?
I'll be presenting. I am Nabila from M13.
What? I like Nurul Ashikin Nabila. Huh? Okay.
Yes, I'll be presenting.
Yeah, I was just telling their class yesterday, I think. Basically, I like this now. Three name, kind of three words and three names line one. Interesting. Okay, Nurul. So you are now Nabila, Nurul, Ashikin now.
Nabila.
Nabila. Okay, Nabila. Go ahead.
Okay.
And what group is this?
M13.
13, huh?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good.
Okay, so I'll be so describe the role of local authorities as compared to Ministry of Health agencies. A local health authorities, it is defined as an organization that provides local public health services, while Ministry of Health agency, it is an agency that under the Ministry of Health that are involved. Anis.
Yeah. You can't see my screen?
Hanis.
It's in different slide.
Sorry, I didn't realize.
Yeah, you are presenting the earlier groups, and in your group you also included Ministry of Local Government, DOE, yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah. And in fact, you should talk about what do you call it? Our alam flora. I mean, in KL, like alam flora is a big one. Yeah. Okay. Organizations wise, private. I mean, and then also like not only like NGO, but also private companies that provide issues to, the services. Okay. Continue.
Okay, for Ministry of Health agency, it is an agency that under the Ministry of Health that are involved in the oversight and administration of health system in Malaysia. The role of local health authorities, it is to provide maternity and child welfare, post-hospital care, home nursing, immunizations, ambulance service, and various other preventive and educational services. While for Ministry of Health agency, it is to promote, support, and undertake planning, implementing, monitoring, and evaluations of health promotions programs in different settings, and to promote healthcare consciousness among the masses through the mass media. It is something like handling the outbreak, like right now, COVID-19. And that's all for our part.
You mean that's all you have to tell me about Ministry of Health, Health Services of or Ministry of Health? Yeah. Okay, maybe since we have time, we have another 10-15 minutes, 15 minutes. Can I, for because it's a very important area where we're trying to compare local authority, the Ministry of Local Government and Ministry of Housing and Local Government and Housing. Okay, can I get other groups also to show me their slide? Because like just now we noticed your group included the Ministry of Local Government and Health, Ministry of Local Government and Housing, and you also talked about DOE. For this particular slide, for this particular question, can you show me? Can group one show me what you are what you are? Group is wait. Let me. Okay, group one. You're part of this group. Okay, group one. Can you show me what you've written for this? Then I will go to group 2 and then group 3. Very quickly, just show me what you've written. I just want to know because let's share. This is your student-centered learning. You're teaching each other. Group 1, what did you have? Yeah, MUAS, yeah. Can I show the last slide? The last slide, the last question. Okay. Okay. MUAS, you gonna explain to me what you're saying here?
What Doctor?
Can you explain what you're showing in the slide number 5, under 5, local authorities and Ministry of Health? Very nice slide. Local authority role in urban area. Vector control comes under local authority. Sanitation, local authority. Housing, local authority. Water, pollution, solid waste management, public recreation, all come under local authorities. Nice, very clear. Whereas in the Ministry of Health, medical and medical practice comes under the big way, family health, disease control, R&D. Okay, nice. Amuas? Okay. Next group, another group, group 2. Can you show me your one? But just now that one did not cover your, your group 13 and Nabila. I mean, you see, because local authorities cover all of this. Sanitation in this area in KL, housing in KL, water pollution, water management, solid waste management, public recreational facilities. Okay. Group 2 and group 3. I just want to see. Let's share. And then at the end of this, please make sure you all send it to each other so that everybody is able to share what is written. And then, in fact, somebody should actually try to put it all together into one big slide comparing, okay? Role of authorities, any enforcement of law that has been health related, okay? Eradication of rats, okay, very good. Local authority. River pollution in KL, yeah, okay. Local authority. Vector, yes. Public areas to maintain health, prevention of overcrowding, okay. On the other side is, of course, health. There are bigger picture, nursing, medical equipment. But Ministry of Health covers everything else, but I want to make sure local. So you understand, the local government has a lot of responsibilities, but not the delivery of the healthcare itself. That still comes under Ministry of Health. Group 3, can I see your slides, Irfan? Have you all already taken attendance? I'm just kind of curious. Have you already taken attendance? Jonathan, has attendance been taken already?
Yes, I have.
Okay, good. Right. Irfan, you want to share your slide, group 3? For the question number 5. For the learning outcome 5. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Local authority. Sanitation, stray animal and pest control, yes, under local authority. So that means basically if there are dogs in the road, if there's any pest, if there are bats in the house or anything that comes, or a monkey suddenly comes to your house, call the local, some say called bomba, but say garbage collection, under local authority. Excuse me. Sanitation, local authority. Public utilities. Okay. All right. Ministry of Health actually covers everything else. Ministry of Health, big player. All right. With this, we will stop. Okay. Any questions? So please, Jonathan or whoever is in charge of this section, to please compile all of this and then put it into one zip file and send to everybody else, and all of you all to share what it was prepared by the other groups. Any questions for me? I think you all have done well. I must say the 10 groups, you all have shared out your responsibilities well, because there are a total of 20 in your class. For the next SCTL, you've got another 10 groups to do. Very nice. Any questions? Bakare Faida Ronke. Bakare Faida Ronke. Where are you from? Very interesting name. Bakare Faida Ronke. Where are you from? Are you there, Bakare Faida Ronke? No?
Doctor, she's having problem with
All right.
electricity.
Okay. All right, no problem. Okay. Good. All right, any questions from the class, members of the class? If not, then we will stop here. No? Okay, if there's no class, I'll leave. You all want to discuss among yourselves, please go ahead, and now you're going to go further with this. Then I will meet you all on Wednesday, right? My session with you is on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay. I've got one injury control lecture and a SCTL on environmental health. Looking forward to it. Yeah. Take care.
Thank you very much, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you, bro.